So I'm so excited to have with me the Laundromat King, Victor Nichols. He is an author, he is a coach, and he is somebody who basically has acquired laundromats for no money down. And he's an American entrepreneur, but when I saw his videos, I actually found him through a Facebook group for laundromat owners. So if you're thinking, do we have Facebook groups for anything? The answer is yes. So I'm so excited to have him here to tell us about his story, how he's able to, become a business owner while still, having a job. And, thank you so much, Victor, for being on here today.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Lee.
Great. So can you tell us what you do day to day?
I got a normal job like everybody else out there. I wake up, my day's a little bit longer because I work 12-hour shifts at the nuclear power plant. Wow. So I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get ready, leave the house at 4, and I go clean the laundromat for about 20 minutes. And then I go to my job. And then usually when I get off work, I come back and I just clean it for another 30 minutes and I go home. So I'm not there all the time. It's more of a part-time job, supplemental income, which is really nice. And then that's about it.
Wow, I think that's like a really packed schedule. 3 a.m. and you also have, a wife and kids. And so I'm kind of amazed that you have that schedule. So it seems like, because you work at a nuclear power plant, how did you get into the laundromat business?
I've been looking into it for a long time, but I guess it's just, you need a lot of motivation and just I can't even think of the word, but you got to keep on going at it. You can't just give up easily. And like everybody else, I pretty much found a guy on YouTube that taught other people how to get into the laundromat business. So he kind of took me under his wing and taught me his ways. And that's how I got my first laundromat out of Chicago Heights. And then I learned different strategies. Obviously, when you take over a business, you start learning different techniques that work for you. And I pretty much just learned different strategies and started teaching others and doing YouTube videos on for other people to get into the business.
Wow, that's fascinating because I think you could have chosen like thousands of different businesses, and you say, it's recession proof, it's, hands off, and it's, I see a lot of awesome things with the business. So how did you choose the laundromat business out of like thousands of other ideas?
I guess trial and error, because there's other stuff like I did like Nichols Gadget where I try to fix cell phones and stuff like that. That didn't work out very well because obviously cell phones are always changing. Yeah. At least with laundromats, you always get your washer and dryers. So they get more energy efficient and stuff like that. But it's always the basic concept of washer and dryers. I tried other things that didn't work out, and eventually I found a laundromat that worked out, and I tried it. I enjoy it. I love it. So I just decided to keep on moving forward with it.
That's fascinating. So what was your, because you have a really good job, people, when they are not motivated, they can just keep plugging on, right? So what, you woke up one day, okay, I need to start a business, or what was your motivation for that change?
My motivation was I wanted to quit my job. I think that was the biggest motivation was I wanted to spend more time with my family and especially my kids, because I barely get to see them working all the time. So my focus was, hey, if I get a laundromat business, it's supposed to be good money, guaranteed people coming in all the time, recession proof. So as long as you run the business properly, you don't really have to worry about it closing up. And then my goal was I would love to get more laundromats built up so I got multiple incomes coming in from a laundromat business. So that was my goal, is to eventually be able to quit my full-time job and focus more on the laundromat business.
That's amazing, because I've seen one of your children featured on the YouTube videos as well. So
they love jumping on.
Yeah, like what is it like raising kids and running the business?
I love it. The kids love it. I treat the laundromat business as a family business. So the customers, I don't know if my kids get on their nerves, but it doesn't seem like it. They love it. My little one Ethan will just run up to them and just start chit chatting. So, and it's funny because they'll go buy him a drink or play with them with some toys or something like that. So it's nice because the customers know who I am. So it's more of a family ran business. Everybody knows my kids. I'll come in by myself and they'll be like, hey, how's your son doing? Or where's your daughter at? And stuff like that. So it's nice to be able to keep your family involved.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and when I see the videos, it's just like, wow, you integrated them both perfectly. So I love that. So speaking of customers, what was it like when you first started, this business? Did
Oh
you have any
God,
weirdos coming in? Did you have any like?
it was horrible, and it was the Chicago Heights store was a startup, a complete startup. So it wasn't a store that was already open. It was a store that caught on fire and closed up. So I had to completely remodel the whole place and then reopen it back up. My first month was like 187, and my break even was 10,000. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do this. But each month I made it by slowly, and eventually I started breaking even and making a little bit more. But in the beginning, it was tough. I pretty much had to struggle through it. A lot of weirdos that come in there. You see on the YouTube videos that homeless, because I turned into a 24-hour store, so nobody was in there at nighttime, but there's cameras. So you have homeless people that will come in. So you just got to make sure every now and then you wake up, check the cameras. You see someone sleeping in there, you would just call the cops.
Hmm.
So a lot of interesting things always happen at laundromats.
Wow, that's fascinating. So how long have you been in the business?
I've been in it for about 4 years.
Wow. That is a long time. That's like and now you teach other people, so that's great. When you first started, what were some of like the challenges that you had to overcome as a new business owner?
Money. I think that's pretty much everyone's issue is coming up with the money. Mine was I found a location. I was actually able to negotiate with the landlord to get the laundromat for free. So it didn't cost me anything to take over the space. But then I had to dump money into the fix it up because obviously you got to paint, you got to redo the floor, and you got to get some new machines and that. So it was all new to me, and I was scared, I was nervous, but I borrowed some money from my 401k. I got an equipment loan, so it's just going out there, talking to people, going to the SBA, and having them kind of help you create your business plan and stuff like that. So it was a struggle in the beginning. It takes a lot of dedication, and you can't give up on your dreams.
Yeah, that's great advice. So in the beginning, did you tell anybody, hey, I'm starting a laundromat? Or like, did you keep it a secret from them until you were profitable? Like, how were your friends and family
In the
reacting?
beginning, I told people, and it's kind of sad because you realize who your true friends are when you start a business.
Yeah.
A lot of people's going to give you negativity. They're going to say, "Hey, why do you want to start a laundromat business?" And my thing was, I don't want to throw names out there, but my father-in-law was like, "Well, how are you supposed to make money? You got a person coming in and they want to use your top loader. You figure if you're charging $2.50 a top loader, how are you going to pay your $3,000 rent, and then your utilities, a couple of extra $1,000?" So you figure a lot of negativity. So it's just you gotta brush it off, and it does make you think. You're like, oh my God, can I really make this? But there's other laundromats out there that are making it too. It could be profitable. You just gotta learn how to run it properly, and you really learn who your true friends are because I heard a lot of negativity on my part, so no one believed I could do it, and now I own 2 laundromats.
That's pretty incredible. That's the ultimate, what they call it, success is the best revenge, right?
Oh yeah.
It's not revenge, but they see you doing well. Now you're helping other people. So you said that you basically got a laundromat for no money, and you actually show people, I'm sure, in your book and your training programs as well. But my question is, why would somebody give away essentially a laundry business?
That's where I teach you guys in my book about that. It's a lot. You try going out and talking to other entrepreneurs, laundromat entrepreneurs, they don't want to really tell you anything. It's all hush hush and stuff like that. The biggest part is you can either take over a business for free or get it for a really low cost. Like the Wilmington store, I bought it for $2,500. So when he was trying to sell it for $10,000. So I actually talked him down. And the reason why you can get a free laundromat or get a really low cost laundromat is who wants to sell a laundromat that's making money? Right? Nobody.
Yeah, that's true.
So if a laundromat's for sale, there's something wrong. Either obviously it's old machines or they're losing money. So they want out of it. They're desperate. They're losing a lot of money and they're just willing to give it away. Is pretty much what it comes down to.
Wow, so
So
you're literally taking over, like, what's that show called, like Turnaround Boss or something? Like, how are you so confident to say, hey, I've never been in this business, but I'm going to buy one and then, make it profitable? Like, what was your mindset like?
a lot of coaching from another person. So
Yeah.
yeah. So as long as you got one person that's willing to back you up, and as long as you learn from them, you'll be able to succeed in the business.
Yeah, that's solid advice. So what kind of person do you think is this business right for? Because it's obviously, you could be very lucrative, but it's not something that, I'm in the online coaching world, right? A lot of, women posting pictures of them in front, nothing wrong with that, but it's a lot of glamour. And it's like, oh, you're an entrepreneur. Everyone thinks it's cool. But I think with your business, it's more like, practical, more brick and mortar. What kind of, type of entrepreneur would be most successful with this model?
Pretty much anybody could run it. It's just, if you got a lot of money, you could turn around and buy the laundromat. But then if you're like me, where you got little income and you're trying to get into a business, or other people out there that have very little income, it's possible to get into it. You got to have, I'm trying to look for the word, I apologize. You got to be dedicated. You can't give up too easily, because you will run into struggles, especially if this is your very first business getting into, because you're going to run a lot of dead ends. A lot of people that's going to, you're not going to have a lot of support in the beginning until you actually show that you can actually do it. Because a lot of banks and loans, they want to see at least 2 years of you being in the laundromat business. So either working around with somebody else or owning one. So me not having no experience, it was very, very difficult for that. So it was like, I can't even think of the word. I apologize. But yeah, it's open to everybody, as long as someone is more dedicated to focusing on their business and getting it up and running. So
yeah, that's great. So I think your background is really fascinating to me, because you work in a nuclear power plant, and then you went into this business. Can you take us back more? Like, were you always an entrepreneurial, person? Were you, the type to like sell lemonade when you're like 5 years old? What was like growing up like?
God,
for you?
I got a twin brother and a sister, and we grew up in a low income area. I mean, we were poor. I remember drawing pictures and my brother going out and selling it to people just out on the streets,
Oh, wow.
being a little kid. So I do remember doing that. It wasn't always, I don't know, we moved around a lot. So it wasn't like my family's separated. So it's not like I got a perfect family, I got money or anything like that. So everything that I have now, I had to work for. So it wasn't just handed to me or given to me, which I know there's a lot of people out there like this too. So as long as you set your goals and you got a dream and you focus on it, you're going to be able to achieve it. It just takes a lot of dedication.
That's great. And then how did you get your job?
Before you're talking about the power plant?
Yeah.
Before that, I actually, before all of that, I was in I worked in the food business. So I worked at Orion Steakhouse, and that's where I met my wife at. And then eventually I quit there, got into security, and I worked security for 3-4 months, and then I got into private investigations. So I did that for about 3 years, and then the power plant was actually hiring, so I applied for that, and I got in there, which is a lot more money than what I was making as an investigator. So I think that's what kind of helped me out. It gave me more money, which I can focus on businesses, versus before it was a little bit more of a struggle, because earning $14 an hour, I mean, it's a struggle to try to come up with money to put down on like deposits on rent or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. So that's really fascinating. It really shows that you can come from anywhere and, make it in business. So that is great. So what are the types of people that, come to coach with you? Can you share with us, some of the success stories or examples of people who, say, hey, Victor, can you help me start a laundromat? What can you describe for us? Like, who are your students and how do you help them?
Sure. A lot of my students that really have no background at all in the laundromat business. So some of they're out of fast food, or they're just a cop. The other one, marketing. So it's different backgrounds that would come to me. They would start asking me questions, stuff like that. And I usually recommend to read the book first, because in the book it explains everything. So I don't really have to repeat myself twice. But it doesn't bother me. I love to talk. So we'll just kind of chit chat back and forth, and I'll try to understand their background, and then I'll tell them, all right, you want to find all the laundromats in your area, and they're like, well, why? So. And once they find their laundromats in the area, I tell them to go out scouting. So it's pretty much internet-based. You want to find everything on the internet, and you kind of stretch out. You want to go personally see it. It's like buying a car. You don't want to buy a car online without first seeing it.
Yeah.
So you go visit in person, and then if you can't find anything locally, just kind of stretch your areas out a little bit. Go to the next town over or something. So a lot of them are still looking for laundromats. A few of them actually found laundromats, and pretty much helping them understand the finance part of getting loans for the equipment loan, because a lot of them they think that you just go to the bank and get an SBA loan, which is really, really hard, because I couldn't even get an SBA loan. I got a $4,000 SBA loan, and I think that was just because I had a car that was paid off that was worth.
That's funny.
So yeah, so SBA loans they're difficult for people that have never been in the business or getting into starting their own business. So a lot of it's going to be third party or manufacturer loans that are going to help you, especially with the laundromat business. So especially if you don't have perfect credit. If you got perfect credit, it's a little bit easier.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I think it's funny, if you want to go to college, hey, going to give you all the loans, but if you're going to start a business that actually makes you money, they're like, oh, we had to see all this.
Oh, yeah. They want to make sure they get their money back from you. So
yeah, that makes sense. So I think it's funny, because when I first saw you kind of do laundromat stuff, I was like, oh, maybe it's going to cost a lot of money. How much time am I going to spend there? So what are some of the most common concerns that you think beginners have or maybe common fears they have that are maybe just myths? What are some of the things that a lot of people are concerned about in the beginning?
My first fear of opening the doors was, what was it? It was 7 to 10 o'clock, my doors were open. I was like, well, I want to turn into a 24-hour, so I'm not stuck here all the time or trying to find employees, because that's the biggest fear is finding employees or how long you're going to stay and run your business. Because obviously, being a business owner, you don't want to be stuck at your business 24/7. You want to be able to go out, enjoy time with your family, or take a vacation or something like that, and still have your business running. So by turning it into a 24-hour store and setting up cameras and locks where they should be, so customers don't go where they shouldn't be, you don't have to be there 24/7. So my biggest fear was transitioning to the 24/7. I actually slept in the wash and fold.
What? Oh my God.
So I was in the back room, and I got the camera monitor up, and I'm like, all right, I just want to make sure no one's gonna try to break my coin boxes or anything. Yeah. So I actually slept there, and it went smooth. I mean, after that first night, I felt comfortable. I'm like, okay, maybe this will work as a 24-hour store.
Wow.
So yeah.
That is dedication right there for sure. So for those people who are watching, maybe, they really want to start, but they're, not sure. And for you, did you have to talk yourself into it? What was, I think, the ultimate decider for you to say, you know what, I'm going to go in on this business?
Oh, wow. To go all in, I know I was researching for 2 years before I actually jumped into it. So, I mean, I had it, I went out, I looked, and in my book, I even told the story of how it went. So it was just, I was like, okay, I found a place, and it didn't work out. So I just kind of gave up and walked away. And then I came back, I was like, okay, maybe I gotta put a little bit more work into this. I can't give up so easily. So it was just, I guess, just being dedicated, because I think that was a lot of people were giving me negative, and I took that negative, and I think that's what put me down was, hey, no one believed in me. No one believed that I could get a laundromat up and running. So I think that's what kind of made me fail the first time I tried to get into the laundromat business. But the second time I went full on and found a store and just kept on going at it. And during the negotiation, it was kind of funny because I didn't have no patience. And you got to have patience during negotiations. That took 6 months to negotiate.
What?
To stay at Chicago Heights. And then 3 months for my Wilmington store. And that's because you're just going back and forth with the landlord. You're trying to get the best deal for you on free rent and half rent to try to get your business going because you're not going to have money in the beginning. So you want as much free money as you can for the business. So it takes patience, and I had no patience. I was just calling. I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's taking so long? Why isn't the landlord answering me? And I was just like, dude, back off, relax.
Yeah, because you said something about being impatient or something, but when you said like 6 months, that is so patient, at least for me anyways. But wow, that's incredible. So can you share with us like some of like the advantages and disadvantages of running our laundromat business?
Advantages, you get paid daily. So the biggest part, most businesses, they'll build their clientele. So with laundromats, the positive is your clientele pays you up front. So if they want to use your machine, they're going to stick money into the machine to pay you right then and there before the machine even starts. Mm-hmm. So you get paid up front. You don't have to worry about invoicing them and then worrying about if they're really going to pay you or not. So it's money up front. The cons are it's a machine, so eventually it does get old. Parts are going to break down, but it doesn't happen. If you get new machines, if you take care of it, do maintenance, the commercial machines will last like 30 years.
Wow.
So yeah, if you get older machines and you know how to work on them, another advantage, if you know how to work on them, you're saving money. A con is paying someone else to repair it, because you're looking at $65 to $85 an hour to bring someone else in to repair it. But they offer classes, which is kind of nice. The distributors, depends if you go with Speed Queen, Hips, as for the other ones out there, Dexter. They offer you classes to work on the machines. So as long as you're willing to go to the class, or you can, if you got a friend or someone else that you hired to work in your laundromat, you can send them there to learn on how to work on the machines, which is going to save you money in the long run.